Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 origin continent based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng looked at the materials for the 10 directions world form in front of him. The golden scale beetle corpses were given by his master, Emperor Chu, and the other biological materials were obtained from the world he was garrisoned in. The 10 directions world form, I have comprehended, is different from all of these, Luo Feng marveled. The materials for the 10 directions world form came from different creatures, so naturally, there were some differences. What matter should I use to construct this form? Luo Feng pondered. According to the world life form heritage description, simply comprehending the 10 directions world form only accomplishes half. It's also necessary to study the origin Tao of matter, to find matter suitable for the 10 directions world form. Only by combining the two can a powerful life form be created. Like some who have only comprehended the great Tao of life origin, such as the ancestral god of the snow realm, their life forms are not inferior to the 10 directions world form, but because they are condensed purely from divine power, they are much weaker. With the capability of formless and intangible, Luo Feng could still imitate it. Let's try. Luo Feng attempted to transform. He started with the 10 directions world form as the foundation, transforming by referencing the matter of primordial bloodline creatures. Whoosh! Countless divine powers were transforming. The previous form had a maximum of 108 trillion particles. But the 10 directions world form is a world unto itself, without limit. Luo Feng understood this from his heritage. In theory, as long as his soul can helm it and his spiritual will can control it, the life form of the 10 directions world form can grow without limit. Soon, Luo Feng, referencing 7 materials, created 7 avatars. These 7 kinds of matter are all very suitable for the 10 directions world form, with the Silver Shan Beast King having the highest compatibility, Luo Feng quickly determined. Of course, these were creatures naturally bred from the primordial bloodline with 10 directions world form, so their material constitution was naturally rather perfect. Transform. Luo Feng began to transform, divine power continuously converting. With the increasing number of conversions, Luo Feng became more proficient. However, it still took almost half a day in the land of origin to completely transform the godly body. The godly body has completely transformed, and my soul and spiritual will can still control it. Luo Feng felt relatively at ease inside Star Tower, which had become incredibly large and towering. The soul is much like an army. The more immense the soul, the larger the number of troops naturally. The spiritual will, on the other hand, is much like the army's commander. A powerful commander can make the army unleash tremendous combat power. A weak commander can make the army fall weak and defenseless. To control a powerful physical body, both the soul and spiritual will are very important. Continue to accumulate. At this moment, the small universe at his home was continuously transferring divine power into the primal chaotic space within his body. In the primal chaotic space, divine power was also constantly being transformed into the power of the 10 directions world form, perpetuating his growth. At this stage, the size of the body depends on one's own Tao, Luo Feng realized. Godly kings place great importance on unlimited godly bodies, because they represent foundation. The size of the small universe is determined by the foundation. Luo Feng's perfect divine body meant that his small universe was as vast as the supreme rules would allow. Yet the unlimited godly bodies were somewhat inferior. If it were a weaker godly body, the small universe would be smaller, corresponding to the primal chaotic space inside, which would become a small universe that is much smaller in the future, and the souls naturally bred would be smaller too. The foundation determines the size of the small universe, as well as the godly body and soul foundations. Of course, the foundations of the godly body and soul can be changed through cultivation. If one cultivates the soul path, it is natural to strengthen the soul, but this path is very difficult. 99% of godly kings have their souls grow naturally. To change the foundation of the godly body also requires the cultivation of the body's Tao. The great Tao of life origin is the best at this. Like the ancestral god of the snow realm, every river and snowflake in the entire snow realm territory is part of his body. Only at this step of cultivation does one begin to transcend the foundation of the godly body. Luo Feng felt that, after the godly body had completely transformed, an invisible force was converging in the primal chaotic space. As he had a perfect divine body, Luo Feng's primal chaotic space was spacious and tough enough. At that moment, under the converging invisible force, the primal chaotic space began to naturally give rise to a world. An inner world was evolving naturally. Search the novelia.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. This is the world life form. Luo Feng sensed all of this. Under the 10 directions world form, each basic unit of life encompassed a small world. And a giant physical body formed by countless life units, where the power of the world was extremely dense, would naturally open up into a complete world. The primal chaotic space within was obviously the most fitting. Boom. 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 The massive body's endless power of the world converged, and the small world continued to grow. Let's go outside and have a look. Feeling that the small universe was stable, Luo Feng's true body finally exited the Star Tower and stealthily left True Capital, concealing his power. Whoosh! Luo Feng's body naturally merged with the world, as if becoming a part of it. In just a few breaths, he arrived at Huyang City. As a world life form, even traveling is this fast, Luo Feng exclaimed. Although he hadn't reached the level of those terrifying beings who could descend to a place with a single thought, reaching Huyang City from the borders of flame-wind ancient country, in just a few breaths still amazed Luo Feng. This was much faster than before. My small universe can naturally reflect the outside world. Luo Feng stood above Huyang City, and his small universe naturally reflected it, able to cover an incredibly vast area. 3 primal chaos prefectures. Luo Feng confirmed. The reflection of the vast expanse covered by his inner small universe astonished Luo Feng. Each primal chaos prefecture was incredibly vast, with large cities being merely an insignificant point within a primal chaos prefecture. It must be understood that even a second-rate country typically has only a few dozen primal chaos prefectures. As for third-rate countries, their entire territory encompasses roughly 10 primal chaos prefectures. The reach of Luo Feng's world reflection could encompass 3 primal chaos prefectures, which revealed how terrifying it was. Within the range of world reflection, I can call upon the power of the world in a thought to obliterate my enemies. My current strength is almost comparable to that of an undefeatable first realm of godly king, and yet I possess such methods. What about those at the second realm of the godly king, or even at the ultimate realm? Luo Feng became increasingly clear-headed. No wonder the catastrophe beasts at the ultimate realm of the godly king can unleash apocalyptic disasters. Saw the novel, /ia.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. An undefeatable first realm godly king is by default considered an overlord of the land of origin. A true first realm godly king has a far superior divine power reserve than mine. If they were to cultivate into a world life form, it would only be more colossal. This was also why Luo Feng considered himself nearly an undefeatable first realm godly king. However, at this moment, he was continuously absorbing energy, his home's small universe was also transmitting energy, and his physical body was still growing. He believed it would not take too long to reach the standard of a normal undefeated first realm godly king. I still need to familiarize myself with my body and unearth its many capabilities. Luo Feng's true body instantly entered the garrison mansion of Huyang City. As a cultivator of the great Tao of life origin, having numerous avatars, the significance of his true body and avatars wasn't much different. As long as a sliver of strength remained, he could cultivate it back. Consequently, treasures like the Star Tower became even more important. Having heard too many accounts of second realm godly kings getting attacked by the 2 ancient countries, Luo Feng dared not bring it out until he had thoroughly researched the Star Tower. Although he was now qualified to be called an overlord, he still had to remain low-key in the face of the 2 ancient countries. According to the world life form, this special grade inheritance I am currently merely at the threshold of being a world life form. The more Luo Feng understood, the humbler he became. According to the inheritance, the primordial life outside the braided cage could even have a body that rivaled a source world. Compared to such existences, he was as insignificant as an ant. At least I have taken the first step. Luo Feng then resumed his closed-door cultivation, familiarizing himself with his various abilities. Xiangjie City. How long do you plan to stay in Po Lu City this time? Moyu Qingyang asked his wife, Zhong Yunj. I don't know. Zhong Yunj said. You don't know? Moyu Qingyang was taken aback. Zhong Yunj explained, having the opportunity to become a disciple of godly King Po Lu is an incredible fortune for me. Of course, I must seize the chance and cultivate at Po Lu Mountain. Only by cultivating continuously at Po Lu Mountain do I have the opportunity to frequently receive guidance from my master. If I'm always in Xiangjie City, when will I get such guidance? That's not what I meant. Moyu Qingyang said, I hold an important position in Xiangjie City, and I can't leave for an extended period. If you're always in Po Lu City, wouldn't we be separated all the time? We are both cultivators, being apart for a short time is nothing we can't endure. Zhong Yunj said. How about you leave a divine power incarnation here? Moyu Qingyang suggested. Cultivation requires focus, and one must not be distracted. Zhong Yunj said, when I feel it is time to come back, I will return. Moyu Qingyang looked at Zhong Yunj, feeling a mix of emotions. You're not even willing to spare a divine power incarnation from distraction. His parents had a great relationship, and had 3 children. His elder brother and younger brother were the same, both having wives and children. Moyu Qingyang too had thought to marry and have children. Only his wife Zhong Yunj placed great importance on the path of cultivation. Qingyang, Moroso appeared beside her and said with a smile, I've told you before, emotions will affect your cultivation. Look, Yunji is very decisive. She doesn't want to have children, she wants to focus on cultivation. She doesn't even want to leave a divine power incarnation, she wants to focus on cultivation. She is seizing the opportunity to dedicate her heart to cultivation. Luo Feng was immersed in his own closed-door cultivation, not paying attention to his disciples' affairs. But Morosa was always watching, keeping an eye on the progress of his disciples' emotions. Emotions affect cultivation. Moyu Qingyang shook her head, my father, my brothers, none of them have such issues. Isn't that what Yunji is doing? Cutting off distractions, focusing solely on cultivation, eliminating all interference, Morosa said leisurely. Why can't emotions and cultivation coexist? Moyu Qingyang did not believe it. Time passed once more. Moyu Qingyang personally went to Po Lu City, arriving on Po Lu Mountain. Divine Monarch Moyu, Sister Zhong is sparring with other fellow sect members. A disciple enthusiastically greeted her and guided her on the way. Moyu Qingyang saw it too. She saw Zhong Yunj and 5 other fellow sect members sparring and exchanging pointers. Naturally, Zhong Yunj was much weaker in strength, but the others were giving her face, controlling their power. Why have you come? Zhong Yunj saw Moyu Qingyang and approached with a smile. You never return, so I had to come here, Moyu Qingyang said. Zhong Yunj explained with a smile, this place is truly fit for the cultivation of godly kings. The disciples here are very outstanding, many much stronger than me. Sparring with them, I gain a lot. Cultivating here is much better than in Xiangjie City. I believe you understand too, Qingyang. Has Po Lu godly king given you any guidance? Moyu Qingyang asked. Not yet, Zhong Yunj replied, no one knows when Master will appear, it's a matter of luck. Perhaps after some time, Master will give us some guidance. Moyu Qingyang looked at her, then when do you plan to return? Why are you rushing me? Zhong Yun's expression changed as she looked at Moyu Qingyang. This is Master's place. To be able to become a direct disciple of a godly king is a tremendous opportunity. Why would you want to block my chance? I came to confirm one thing. If you want to focus entirely on cultivation, not wanting to be disturbed by emotions, not wanting my interference, Mo Yu Qingyang said as he looked at Zhong Yunji, then I also do not wish to be disturbed by you. Zhong Yunji was stunned. Let's hear your decision, Mo Yu Qingyang said. I won't give up the path of cultivation, Zhong Yunji said calmly as she looked at Mo Yu Qingyang. This is the greatest opportunity for cultivation I've had since I was born. No one will stop me, Qingyang, you should know my choice. I guessed as much, just wanted a clear answer. Mo Yu Qingyang turned around and walked away. Let's just part ways here, then. Zhong Yunji watched Mo Yu Qingyang leave, but did not call out to stop him. Cultivators, there are times to come together and times to part. In the ordinary days that laid before her, Mo Yu Qingyang was a good end. But now she is a direct disciple of a godly king, a path she is more dedicated to. Emotions will only affect me, Zhong Yunji thought in her heart, and turned to join her fellow sect members. Master, Morosa communicated through mental transmission. Immersed in the study of the life form, Luo Feng replied, Morosa, what's happened? Master, you don't care about your disciple. Your disciple and Zhong Yunji have completely split, Morosa said excitedly. Split? Luo Feng was surprised. He, as a master, indeed wasn't very responsible. He hadn't seen Zhong Yunji more than a few times himself. I felt something was not right for a while now. Qingyang has been so troubled by her that he couldn't focus. This trip to Polu Mountain, sure enough, it turned out just as I had thought. They really did split up. Morosa said joyfully, it's good that they split, very good indeed. It's just a small trial of emotions, Luo Feng laughed, not taking it too seriously, and continued to focus on his own cultivation. I'm at a critical moment in my cultivation, you take care of Qingyang's matter. All right, it's all on me. Morosa didn't need to focus on cultivation, and was quite bored anyway. So naturally, he stayed constantly aware of Mo Yu Qingyang's situation. Outside Huyang City, in the quiet room of the city owner's mansion. Dressed in silver robes, Luo Feng sat cross-legged. The material of the 10 Directions world form he had constructed was based on the Silver Mountain Beast King, and even his robe was a natural condensation of power, tough and indestructible. The inner world founded upon the foundation of primal chaotic space, became even more formidable and stable. Having mastered the basics of being a world life form and familiarizing myself with my own abilities, it is time to comprehend the secret techniques that harness the power of a world life form, Luo Feng mused as he looked at his palm, which possessed endless might. Boom! The aura in Luo Feng's palm suddenly surged. Previously, imitating the form of primal chaos layer creatures, I was unable to ignite my power. However, with this 10 Directions world form, I can ignite the power for a greater burst. Luo Feng observed the modest strength erupting from his palm. But when unleashing the power, it places a higher demand on spiritual will. I also need to comprehend the secret technique of igniting power. Luo Feng was grateful that as a world life form, part of the special grade inheritance, he had access to many complementary secret techniques. The only problem was, attempting to comprehend these techniques at the level of primal chaos realm was extremely difficult. The royal capital of Shi Kingdom covered an expansive area, with a majestic royal palace at its center, the palace of the Emperor of Tiankuan. Inside the palace, Big Brother, Monarch. The other 4 godly kings of Shi Kingdom addressed each other differently. Wuxiang Ancestor, Demon Blade Ancestor, and the Emperor of Tiankuan had been through life and death situations together, conquered battles, and founded the nation side by side since they were in the first realm of Godly King. Even after the Emperor of Tiankuan had reached the second realm of Godly King, they continued to call each other brothers. The other 2, Stream Rui Godly King and Skull Peak Godly King, were invited to join later when the Emperor of Tiankuan was already in the second realm of Godly King. My lords, the Emperor of Tiankuan said as he sat in the seat of honor. Even as he sat there, his invisible aura of terror caused the other 4 to hold their breath. They also knew that the Emperor of Tiankuan, having obtained the more profound primordial bloodline from Flame Wind Ancient Country, and now following the primordial bloodline path, was not comparable to a newly ascended second realm Godly King. The existence of a godly king in the second realm, each a ruler in their own right, initially sought to reach the ultimate realm on their own strength. They all knew that cultivating the primordial bloodline came with many future problems. However, as time passed, those in the second realm of godly king realized just how far the ultimate realm of God King was from them. When the gap was overwhelming, they would despair and choose another path, relying on external powers and following the bloodline path with the help of the primordial bloodline. In Flame Wind Ancient Country, 6 emperors cultivated with the help of primordial bloodline, and including the empress's previous life, there were arguably 7 bloodline path emperors. In Thunder Ancient Country, every emperor followed the primordial bloodline path. Seeing both imperial clans of the ancient countries follow this path shows that indeed it is a clear way forward. Its biggest advantage, a significant increase in strength, cannot be overshadowed by all potential problems. One by one, those non-imperial strong forces hit their limits, and one after another, they switched to cultivating the primordial bloodline. Even though the primordial bloodline they acquired and many other supplementary resources were far inferior to those of the emperors and monarchs of the 2 ancient countries, these were still enough to significantly enhance their strength. Within the treasure land Tianhe, I, together with my friends, have set up an ambush, intending to destroy the true body of the monarch of Yu country in one fell swoop, the emperor of Tiankuan declared. As long as his true body is annihilated, all the great resources and primordial bloodline he obtained at great costs will be wasted. This was a flaw in cultivating the primordial bloodline path. Much of the resources were invested in the physical body, and with the true body's death, it was tantamount to bankruptcy. If they were to cultivate again using a resurrection body, they would have to start all over again. As for those who cultivate on their own, even after reincarnation, they could quickly return to their peak strength. The monarch of Yu country, gravely wounded, fled deep into Tianhe. We tried our best to hunt him down, but he would take refuge wherever it was dangerous. The emperor of Tiankuan shook his head. That's why I think we should force him out from the outside. The other 4 godly kings of Shi Kingdom listened. Force from the outside. Our territory of Shi Kingdom will advance towards Yu Kingdom along the entire border, the emperor of Tiankuan said. Do not advance too quickly, capturing one primal chaos prefecture after another. I want to see if the monarch of Yu country still has the patience to hide within Tianhe. Clever, the Wuxiang ancestor said excitedly. This monarch of Yu country doesn't possess the clone technique. He only has 2 options. Either hide in Tianhe and watch Yu kingdom being invaded and shrinking, or give up his true body and cultivate a new one to defend the kingdom. To give up his true body and cultivate again would mean a significant reduction in strength, yet, as a second realm godly king, he would still possess deterrence. What if the godly kings of the Yu kingdom intervene? Skull Peak Godly King asked. Those who obstruct us will be killed, the emperor of Tiankuan replied calmly. This matter was decided together with several friends, and we must drive the monarch of Yu country out of Tianhe. His primordial bloodline offers him more advantages in exploring Tianhe than us. The other 4 godly kings understood. These first realm godly kings struggled immensely to enter the most ordinary treasures, like the infinite space. Among them, Wuxiang ancestor only had one opportunity to visit infinite space by relying on his brotherhood and selling himself to the 2 realms palace. Even more precious treasures. They dare not even dream of gaining entrance. These are the battlegrounds for the second realm of godly kings. For those in the first realm of godly king, their most stable source of resources still comes from their own territories. Vast lands continuously produce various natural treasures, and the residence fee from numerous cities also adds up. Though it may not seem much, over time, it becomes the most substantial income for a first realm godly king. But the emperor of Tiankuan was not interested in such gains. His sights were set on the resources within the treasure land Tianhe. The resources of Tianhe, for those cultivators of water-type primordial bloodlines, were exceedingly beneficial. Monarch of Yu country hasn't made an appearance, and I reckon not many other godly kings dare to act. If they did, having their true body extinguished once would be enough to keep them far away, said the godly king of Demon Blade at one side. But big brother, that great Saint Luo he does have a city on the border, Huyang City. Shall we make a move? Luo he. The Emperor of Tian Kuan smiled lightly. A single city is nothing much, let him have it. Our objective is to force the monarch of Yu country's hand. He got off easy, said Wu Xiang, the ancient ancestor on the side. You all draft the detailed invasion plan. I only have one requirement. Act as soon as possible, the Emperor of Tian Kuan instructed. I want to see whether the monarch of Yu country can hold back or not. Yes. Wu Xiang, the ancient ancestor, the godly king of Demon Blade, the godly king of Flowing Radium, and the godly king of Bone Summit responded with respect. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Outside Huyang City. Clad in a robe of silver, Luo Feng stood in the midst of a mountain forest. He looked at a plant in front of him that bore purple flowers. When he stretched out his hand to touch the purple blossom, the flower swayed and its aura rapidly intensified. From an ordinary plant, the aura quickly reached True God level, True God of Void Space level, and even Eternal True God level. Boom. The purple flower burst into ashes. Not even an Eternal True God level life form can be catalyzed. Luo Feng shook his head lightly. In the land of origin, there are some ancient beings that can catalyze godly king level powers. The gap is not just a small one. Luo Feng walked to a red fruit tree beside him and attempted to touch it once more. The red fruit tree swayed along, its aura surging vastly, and then, much like before, upon reaching the aura of Eternal True God level, it also completely disintegrated into ashes. Let's try again. Flowers, grass, and even rocks. Luo Feng tried to catalyze them all, yet everything turned to ashes. An exotic beast in the distance watched this scene, observing the flowers and grass reach the aura of an Eternal True God level, then turn to ashes. It was frightened into fleeing far away. Where exactly is the problem? Luo Feng stood amidst the forest, very perplexed and deep in thought, wondering where the flaw lay in the combination of the 6 major branches of life. In the midst of deep contemplation, in the collisions of life's 6 major branch mysteries, all of a sudden, the complete vitality branch emerged in his mind. Luo Feng was stunned. The life spirituality branch. Luo Feng had felt long ago that just by comprehending the 6 major branches of the great Tao of life origin, he would be able to grasp them with ease. But he had followed the guidance of the special grade inheritance, not pursuing deliberate comprehension. Instead, he focused on understanding high-level secret techniques at a lower realm. But at this moment, without deliberate comprehension, the life spirituality branch had already emerged in his mind. So this is the complete life spirituality branch. Luo Feng studied it carefully. Boom. Boom. As Luo Feng contemplated the complete life spirituality branch, it triggered a response, and naturally, he understood 2 more branches, precisely the origin of life, and body of life branches, the ones he had been pondering the longest. 3 branches have been realized. A smile appeared on Luo Feng's face, feeling the 3 branches and contrasting them with the secret technique 10 directions world form. Spirit light surfaced in his mind, deepening his understanding of the 10 directions world form. Suddenly, the remaining 3 branches were also naturally comprehended. The blood branch, which is a very famous branch under the great Tao of life origin. Many other godly kings from different paths yearn to comprehend it, as it brings many advantages to cultivating the primordial bloodline. The vitality branch, once achieved, bestows an incredibly lively life force. Even if a strand of divine power is annihilated, it can recover naturally. To completely obliterate it becomes 100-fold or 1,000-fold more difficult. The novel_fire.et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The Life and Death Branch. Outside of the land of origin, there are legends of a death origin Tao, which naturally encompasses many aspects. However, the death branch of the great Tao of life origin is merely one aspect of life. The disappearance of life makes way for a better rebirth. Gathering together to the end and comprehending one branch, it has a continuous effect, naturally leading to the realization of all 6 branches. Luo Feng was quite pleased. Morosa had also comprehended 6 major branches at once. Although there was a slight difference in sequence for me, still, within the time of 1 cup of tea, all 6 branches were comprehended. Compared to that, My accumulation in the great Tao of destruction's origin is much weaker. Luo Feng understood this point. On one hand, the mysteries of destruction's origin that Morosa displayed were inferior to the complete shock exhibited by the great Tao of life origin of the primordial cosmos, resulting in a much weaker effect on comprehension. On the other hand, Luo Feng had dedicated most of his efforts to the 10 directions world form. After all, the transformation method is most suitable for this path. Now that I've comprehended, let's become a godly king. Luo Feng had no thoughts of delaying whatsoever. This video will end here.